Have you ever found yourself in a situation where speaking up seemed like the right thing to do, but something inside you urged silence? In a world that often rewards the loudest voices, choosing silence can feel counterintuitive. But what if I told you that there are moments when silence isn't just golden, it's powerful, wise, and deeply stoic? Welcome, seekers of wisdom, to an exploration of when silence is not only appropriate but essential, guided by the teachings of Marcus Aurelius and the timeless principles of Stoicism. Today, we'll uncover the 9 situations where the Stoics, particularly Marcus Aurelius, would advise you to hold your tongue and embrace the power of silence. Why did one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, Marcus Aurelius, often choose silence over speech? In which situations can silence be more impactful than words? How can practicing silence lead to greater wisdom and inner peace? And most importantly, how can you apply these lessons in your own life to navigate challenges with a Stoic mindset? In today's fast-paced, communication-driven world, we are often encouraged to voice our opinions, share our thoughts, and make our presence known. But Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, understood that there are moments when silence is far more powerful than speaking out. In this video, we'll explore the 9 situations where Marcus Aurelius would advise you to remain silent, drawing on the principles of Stoicism to understand why sometimes saying nothing is the wisest course of action. The first situation where Marcus Aurelius would counsel silence is when your words could cause more harm than good. The Stoics believe that our words should be used to uplift, enlighten, and encourage, not to wound or destroy. Marcus Aurelius, in his meditations, often reflected on the importance of considering the impact of our words before we speak. He understood that once spoken, words cannot be taken back, and their effects can ripple far beyond what we intended. Imagine you're in a heated argument with a friend or loved one. In the heat of the moment, you might be tempted to say something harsh or cutting, something that will win the argument. But what would Marcus Aurelius advise? He would likely remind you that the goal of communication is not to defeat others, but to seek the truth and promote harmony. If your words are likely to cause pain or escalate the conflict, it might be wiser to hold your tongue. This doesn't mean you should never address issues or express your feelings, but timing and intention are key. The Stoics taught that we should speak only when our words are necessary and beneficial. In situations where our words might do more harm than good, silence allows us to pause, reflect, and choose a more thoughtful response. The second situation to remain silent, according to Marcus Aurelius, is when emotions are running high, whether it's anger, frustration, or overwhelming sadness. The Stoics believe that emotions, particularly the more volatile ones, could cloud our judgment and lead us to say things we might later regret. Marcus Aurelius wrote extensively about the importance of controlling one's emotions and not allowing them to dictate our actions or words. In moments of intense emotion, it's easy to speak out of anger or hurt, but the Stoics would advise restraint. Marcus Aurelius might remind you that emotions are temporary, but the consequences of words spoken in anger can last far longer. He would encourage you to practice silence in these moments, giving yourself the space to calm down, regain your composure, and approach the situation with a clearer mind. By choosing silence when emotions are high, you not only prevent potential damage, but also demonstrate a powerful form of self-control, a core tenet of Stoic philosophy. It's in these moments of restraint that you find the strength to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Another critical moment for silence is when you don't have all the facts. Marcus Aurelius was a firm believer in the pursuit of knowledge and understanding. He knew that acting or speaking without sufficient information could lead to misguided decisions and unnecessary conflict. In his meditations, he frequently reminded himself to avoid making hasty judgments and to seek clarity before speaking or acting. Imagine you hear a rumor about a colleague at work. The natural inclination might be to discuss it with others or confront the person involved. But Marcus Aurelius would caution against this. Without all the facts, you risk spreading misinformation or making a situation worse. Instead, the Stoic approach is to remain silent until you have a complete understanding of the situation. This principle applies not just to interpersonal interactions, but also to larger decisions in life. Whether it's making a business decision, offering advice, or forming an opinion on a complex issue, Marcus Aurelius would advise you to gather all the necessary information first. Silence, in this context, is not a sign of ignorance, but of wisdom and patience. Marcus Aurelius was a man of principle, and one of the situations where he would advocate for silence is when speaking might compromise your integrity. The Stoics placed a high value on living in accordance with one's principles and maintaining a consistent, virtuous character. For Marcus Aurelius, integrity was not just about doing the right thing, it was about being true to oneself in all situations. There may be times when you are tempted to say something that goes against your values, perhaps to fit in, avoid conflict, or gain favor. But Marcus Aurelius would urge you to remain silent instead. Speaking in a way that compromises your integrity, even if it seems beneficial in the short term, ultimately erodes your character and self-respect. For the Stoics, living a virtuous life was the highest goal, and that meant being true to your principles, even when it's difficult. Silence can be a powerful tool in preserving your integrity. By choosing not to speak when your words might betray your values, you uphold your commitment to living authentically and virtuously. The Stoics understood that timing is everything, and another situation where silence is golden is when others are not ready to listen. Marcus Aurelius, in his wisdom, recognized that not everyone is always open to hearing the truth, especially if it challenges their beliefs or desires. In such cases, speaking up might not only be ineffective, but could also lead to unnecessary conflict or misunderstanding. Imagine trying to offer advice or perspective to someone who is defensive or closed off. Despite your best intentions, your words might fall on deaf ears or even provoke hostility. Marcus Aurelius would likely advise silence in this situation. Instead of forcing your perspective, the Stoic approach is to wait for the right moment, when the other person is more receptive and open to dialogue. This doesn't mean you should never speak your truth, but it does mean recognizing when the time is not right. Silence in this context is an expression of wisdom and patience, allowing you to choose the most effective moment to communicate your message. There's a common pressure to always have the right words ready, but Marcus Aurelius would remind us that sometimes it's okay not to know what to say. The Stoics valued thoughtfulness and clarity in communication, and they recognized that silence can be the best option when you're unsure of what to say. Perhaps you're in a conversation about a complex issue, and you feel uncertain about your stance or the implications of your words. In such cases, Marcus Aurelius would likely advise you to hold back until you've had time to reflect and clarify your thoughts. Speaking without confidence or understanding can lead to confusion or miscommunication. Silence, in this instance, is not a sign of weakness or ignorance, it's a sign of humility and wisdom. It shows that you value the truth and the integrity of your words more than the need to fill the silence. By choosing to remain quiet until you're sure of what to say, you ensure that your words, when they do come, are meaningful and purposeful. One of the core teachings of Stoicism is the distinction between what we can control and what we cannot. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on this in his meditations, reminding himself to focus on what is within his power and to accept what is not. In situations where events are beyond your control, silence can be a powerful way to practice this Stoic principle. Imagine a situation where a decision is being made by others, and despite your best efforts, you have no influence over the outcome. In such cases, speaking out might only lead to frustration or unnecessary conflict. Marcus Aurelius would likely counsel silence, advising you to accept what you cannot change and to focus instead on your own thoughts and actions. Silence, in this context, is a form of acceptance. It's about recognizing the limits of your influence and choosing to direct your energy toward what you can control: your reactions, your mindset, and your inner peace. By remaining silent in these situations, you demonstrate the Stoic ideal of tranquility and resilience in the face of adversity. There are times when silence is the most respectful and compassionate response, and Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. The Stoics taught that we should always act with consideration for others, and this includes knowing when silence is the best way to show respect. Consider a moment of grief where someone has experienced a profound loss. In such a situation, words can often feel inadequate or even intrusive. Marcus Aurelius would likely advise that silence, in the form of a comforting presence or a simple gesture, can speak louder than any words. This principle applies not just to moments of grief, but to any situation where words might fail to capture the depth of the experience. Silence can be a way of honoring the other person's emotions, giving them space to feel without the pressure to respond or engage. It's a form of empathy that goes beyond words, showing that you understand the value of simply being there. Finally, one of the most important times to embrace silence is when you are reflecting on your own thoughts. Marcus Aurelius was known for his introspection, and much of his wisdom came from the silent moments he spent in reflection. The Stoics believed that self-examination is crucial for personal growth, and this often requires silence. In a world filled with noise and distractions, finding time for silent reflection is more important than ever, whether it's through meditation, journaling, or simply sitting in quiet contemplation. These moments of silence allow you to connect with your inner self, to clarify your thoughts, and to align your actions with your values. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about the importance of turning inward and listening to your inner voice. Silence, in this context, is a tool for self-discovery and wisdom. It's in these quiet moments that you can gain clarity, resolve inner conflicts, and find the strength to live according to your principles. As we've explored today, silence isn't just the absence of words. It's a powerful tool for wisdom, self-control, and inner peace. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, understood that there are times when saying nothing is the wisest course of action, whether it's to prevent harm, to honor your integrity, or to reflect on your own thoughts. Choosing silence can be a profound expression of strength and wisdom. So here's your challenge. Over the next week, pay attention to the moments when you feel the urge to speak, and ask yourself whether silence might be the better choice. Reflect on these 9 situations and see how practicing silence can lead to more thoughtful, intentional communication and a deeper sense of peace. And remember, silence is not about avoiding confrontation or shying away from challenges. It's about choosing the right time and place for your words. It's about understanding that sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. If you're looking for more wisdom, guidance, or a community of like-minded individuals, you know where to find us. The Stoic community is always here, ready to support you on your journey. Stay strong, stay stoic, and embrace the power of silence.